It's Thanksgiving Day 2023, and what you are looking at is a piece of crap amp that I threw together. In the motorcycle world, there's bikes that are called rat bikes, and they're just kind of, put together with a bunch of old stuff, and that's how this is. This was the first chassis when I got into messing around with amplifiers. I had a machine shop make this chassis for me, and that was a long time ago, and I've had like 80 billion amps and projects in this thing, so it's got 1 million holes. Yeah, so what I did is I actually put on the inside, there's a painter's tape in there, and the reason I did that is because I wanted to paint it with glow-in-the-dark paint. Kind of the Swiss cheese amp. Yeah, I think this is out of I know it's a Fender transformer, like a Blues Junior or Blues Deluxe Junior, whatever they are. And this is just a homemade, I made that. That's a transformer I wound up. 8 ohm. This is basically like a Champ kind of thing. Actually, it's an early Princeton. There's the 5F2-A. Yeah, made that a while back. There's lots of holes. Negative feedback switch. Man, you take the negative feedback out and it gets really loud and woolly and mean. Yeah, here's the beautiful interior. What a mess, huh? I grabbed parts out of whatever bin I had and just threw this thing together. This is a bias like on a wire wound pot, but time has shown that those do not hold up. The contact on the wiper will start to degrade pretty quickly over a year or two. So I'm just going to figure out what resistor I need and put that in. Here's basically the schematic of the amp, except mine has a solid state rectifier and only one input. Well, first thing I'm going to do is check the bias and see what it is, and then get rid of the pot and put a resistor in there. Okay, got bias current here and bias voltage here, or plate voltage, bias current. Turning the amp on, let it warm up. Okay, it looks like 338, 18 milliamps. So that's like 6 watts. So, okay, so now what I'll do, disconnect you here. So I'll measure the value of this pot and that 470 ohm resistor and add those two together, and that'll be the value of the resistance from the cathode to ground. All right, let's do a bias-ectomy. All right, let's get this knob off. Oh, the arthritis loved that. Oops, looks like I didn't desolder everything. Sorry there, sir, we didn't finish your operation. We'll have to go back in. There we go. So you can think of this as a resistor from here to here, and this wiper is like a contact that goes along the length of it, okay? And the wiper has a carbon contact that slides along the carbon trace that makes up the resistance. So over time, if you have a current, like a bias current that's fairly high on a little pot like this, it's going to wear that carbon tip out that's on the wiper. So I just decided to, but I didn't know that when I started it. I thought, well, maybe it'll be all right. And it's wire wound. It's pretty tough, and actually it feels okay. But we'll we'll stick a resistor in there. Well, it's too bad I didn't measure the resistance of the pot before I turned it back and forth. So that's funny. The schematic, let's see if I can get that in here. The schematic shows a 471 watt. So maybe I'll just put that to ground and see what current we get. Maybe it'll be good enough. Alright, turkey is in the oven, and I got my resistors on here. I decided to get rid of that old resistor because the leads weren't long enough, and I've installed a terminal block, and I've got a 22 microfarad 25 volt cap there, and in these two resistors in series add up to 500 volt or 500 ohms. So let's kick it on and see what we end up with as far as bias. Oh, by the way, the meters are reversed now. So the one on the right is the current through the tube. And it's gone up to, look at that, 328 at 34, let's say 35 milliamps. Let's see if it settles here. .327 at 35 is 11 watts. It's a 12 watt tube. That's pretty, let's see, that's pretty hot. Okay, yeah, that's about 11 watts, so that's pretty hot. I think I'm going to, I think I'll put a 1000 ohm resistor in there. See how that does. I've got a 1K ohm resistor, I think 10 watts jumpered in. I've disconnected the other one. I should have just done this in the first place. But anyway, so she's jumpered in. And let's see what we get. And turn her on here. Not getting any voltage. That is weird. Why am I not getting any voltage? Oh, because that became unplugged. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got. 22 milliamps at 338 volts. That's 7 watts, about 7.5 watts. Okay, so we're pretty average on bias, so I'm going to take these old resistors out of there and get that 1K across there. I'll just double check it one last time and move on. Alright. Luckily I had that screwed tight. Tighten it up a little bit more. It's dirty. It was in a I think I got it out of an old television. It had some kind of a stain on it, but hey, still works, right? Once again, just double checking the bias. I see my meter is just about ready to die. I must need a new battery. Check the voltage, and 341, 22. That's close enough. All right. Okay, on to the next thing. Okay, Strat plugged into the Glow 5, as I call it. It goes into this power station, but the power station is bypassed. If I hit the operate button on the power station, then this acts as a power soak plus an amplifier to amplify that speaker. So right now the amp is just going into the speaker. Well, the amp sounds so good, I think I'm going to just permanently install it in this cabinet. Nothing, I don't have anything in here anyway. Here's the original holes. You can see, here's the holes in the mounting holes in the chassis. So I think what we'll do is just get a piece of metal, you know, bend it at a 90 degree, bolt it on, or screw it on here, bolt it on, and bring it out this way as a flange. And so I think it should have to be not quite 2.5 inches wide, and it should probably stick out, let's see, well, 1 inch would do it. Yeah, luckily the holes will be really close to the chassis. You know, because if they were way out here, it would, I'd have to use really thick metal. So, all right, so that's what we'll do. Now I got to dig up a couple of pieces of metal and cut them and shape them. Put it through the power station. Cranking the amp up to halfway. Treble, I'm going to put the treble up to like 3/4. Now let's put the negative feedback on first. Dime the treble, and just dime both.